Hi guys, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. Jovike here, and in today's video I am going to be sharing how I went about the drafting of this plunging neckline with Skin Illusion Yoke. As you can see, it has an inbuilt corset back with a modesty panel, boning, eyelet, and this N-shaped yoke. I will also share how I drafted the back corset pattern, so if you're interested, keep on watching, hit the subscribe button, and let's get started. The measurements and materials needed for this style is on your screen, guys. These are the materials, but first, we are starting with the drafting. So here is my pattern paper. I have gone ahead to mark out a guideline or a starting line. So I'll place my tape on it and mark out my chest line, which is 8 inches. I will mark out the under bust line at 13 inches, the bust point line at 10 inches, and then the waistline or half length at 17 inches. I will move to the other side and repeat the same thing. Then get my ruler and use it to mark a straight line, which automatically becomes the horizontal measurements. I am done marking out the horizontal lines. Next, I will place my tape like this and mark out the neck width at 3 inches, and also mark out the shoulder measurement divided by 2. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5 plus extra half inch, making it 8 inches. After marking it out, I will place my tape on that 3 inches wideness for the neckline and come down by 3 inches for the depth. I will mark it out, place it like this again, and mark out 3 inches. Then use my curve to curve the round neckline like this. Next, for the armhole, I will place my tape on the chest line and mark out the shoulder measurement divided by 2 again, so that I will get a straight line for the armhole. Before that, place your tape like this and come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Then draw the straight line and also connect the shoulder slope to the neckline like so. Next is to locate the midpoint of the armhole. I will mark it out, then come in like this by ½ inch and mark it. Then place the tape on the chest line and mark out the bust measurement divided by 4. That makes it 3 points for the armhole. So I'll place my curve and connect the 3 dots, which is from the bust measurement to the ½ inch up to the shoulder slope. Next, I will go ahead and label the chest line CL, bust point BP, the under burst, the half length, and then the blouse length. Because of the style we are working with, as you can see, where the upper part joined the skirt part is longer. Because this is an inbuilt corset, it's as if we are working with a blouse. So measure yourself from the shoulder to wherever you want your draping design to start from and use it as your blouse length. Because mine is a gown, for this gown I'm using 23 plus extra 1 or ½ inch joining allowance. Next, I will place my tape on the burst point line and mark out my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. Come down to the under bust line, mark it out. Come down to the half length, mark it out as well, and also mark it out on the blouse length. Then use my ruler to connect the dots to form a straight line. Next, I will locate the midpoint of thus my shoulder line, mark it out, and then connect it to this our nipple to nipple line on the burst line here. The next thing I'm going to do is to take my suppression at the under burst. If you are working with burst 30 to 38, you can use 1.5 to 2.5 inches, but for burst 38 and above, at least 2.5 inches would do, depending on the person's burst size. You can decide to use 2 inches, it will still be okay, but for mine, I'm using 1.5 inches. So I will divide the 1.5 inches by 2 and mark out 0.75 at the center front here, and also 0.75 at the side front like so. When you times it together, it will still give us the 1.5 inches, so please do not be confused. Next, I will come down to the half length or waistline and mark out 1 inch here and 1 inch this other side. Now please, you can decide to repeat the same 0.75 inch down here. It will still come out well. It all depends on your bust size and your choice. After that, you now connect with straight line. Next, I will come down to the blouse length line and go up by 0.75 or ½ inch and mark it out. Then extend the lines to connect with the ½ inch mark at the blouse length line. Again, you can decide not to come up by ½ inch. That is, you can just connect the lines like that and it will still come out well. I am saying this because some will think that I am misleading or confusing them. Maybe because they learned with another method. But one thing with sewing is that whichever way or method you use, it will still come out well if you know what you are doing. So after connecting everything, I will come up by ½ inch on the burst point line, then come down by 1 inch and mark it out like this. Then get your pattern curve and draw a a curve from that 1 inch down to this point here. Come to the other side and also connect from the 1 inch down to this other point. Guys, for the chest coverage, I will come up by 1 inch on the chest line. Please, this is optional. You can decide to leave yours like that, or you can decide to come up by ½ inch, depending on how covered you want your cleavage to be. I used 1 inch for mine, and I went ahead to mark out a straight dotted line across the 1 inch mark. So that line will be where I will take my suppression. Whatever I have at my underburst is what I am going to take at my new chest line or neckline. So for this side front, I will mark out 1.25 inch, and then the center front, I will mark out 0.75 inch. Then I will use my curve to connect and curve it down to the 1 inch above the burst point line. I will also connect this 0.75 down to the burst point line like this. Then I will still increase both sides by 0.25 inch to avoid gaping. Please, this is very important. After marking it out, I will now draw a new curve and connect them like this. For the deep Skin Illusion Yoke, first I will place my tape on this our old chest line and then go in by 1 inch. If you want your cleavage more exposed, you can go in by 1.5 or 2 inches, but I want mine normal, so I used 1 inch. After marking it out, for the plunging neckline or the neck depth, I will place my tape on the guideline like this and locate where I want the plunging neckline to stop. That is where I want the deepness of the neck to stop. I decided to use my underbust line because I don't want it to be very deep. If you want yours deeper, you can decide to stop at the half length or waistline or anywhere you want. Next, I will get my curve to curve out the illusion yoke by curving from this very point to the 1 inch we marked at the chest line and then down to the underbust line. Now this is what it looks like after the upper curving. So for the underbust area curving, I will place my tape and measure from the burst point down to the underburst. And whatever I get there, I will place my tape at the center and mark it out all round like this. More like using it to create a circle all the way around, just like you do in normal corset drafting. But this time around, it's just for the down part. So after marking it out, I will use my curve and make a good curve for the underburst part. From the burst point down to the underburst line like this. Guys, if you measure your cup, you will notice that one is shorter than the other. Here I am measuring mine and I notice that this very side that is going towards the center is shorter. Mine is like 0.75 inch short. We have to replace that deficit, and to correct that, I will place my tape on it like this and come up by 0.75 inch. I will mark it out and then use my pattern curve to make a new curve like so. This is what it should look like. Next thing I'm going to do is to divide the measurement we have here by 2. Just this part you see me doing here. Divide it by 2 and mark it out. Then from that mark, I will come down by ½ inch. And from that ½ inch, I will draw a straight line all the way to the end of this side. After that, I will draw the curve for this other side and connect it to that ½ inch line we just marked, and then connect from this point down to the underbust line with my pattern curve. As you can see, our cup is formed already. Next, I went ahead to divide my bust measurement by 4. 36 divided by 4, I marked the 9 inches there, and then I will come back and take the measurement in between this area. That's the dart intake at the chest line. Whatever I get, I will replace it here after the burst measurement, and then I will add extra 1.5 or 2 inches for seam allowance. Next, I will come down to the waistline, mark out the waist measurement divided by 4. 32 divided by 4 is 8 inches. I will mark it out, then measure what I have at the waist dart intake and replace it. That's like 2 inches. Then add extra 1.5 or 2 inches for seam allowance. I will come up to the underbust line and repeat the same thing because I want that side snatched very well. It's optional actually. You can decide to use what you have at the waistline for the underburst line. After marking out the underburst, I will come down to the blouse length line. You can use your hip measurement divided by 4 for that side plus extra 2 or 1.5 inches seam allowance and then mark it out. Next, I will go ahead and connect the dots together with my ruler from the chest line to the waistline down to the blouse length line. Then if you want it very snatched at the underbust region, you can decide to connect from the chest line to the underbust before taking it to the waistline. You can still decide to leave it like that if you want. So next, in case you want to add side dart to yours, it's actually necessary, but not everyone adds it. Me, I like to add it to my corset. So to achieve that, place your tape here on this bust point line towards the side seam. Go in by 1 or 1.5 inch and mark it out. Then come to the side as you see me doing now. Vertically place your tape on the bust point line and come down by 1.5 inch. You can decide to use 2 inches. The thing there is that the more busty you are, the wider the width of your darts. I am not that busty, that is why I am using 1.5 inch. Also note that if you are taking side dart, always remember to replace it at the blouse length or gown length so that it doesn't alter your measurement. If you take 2 inches for your side dart and after marking out your blouse length, add extra 2 inches to it so as to replace the side dart intake. So here I am using 1.5 inches. I will still replace it at the blouse length, but that will be white tracing on the fabric. So I'll come down by 1.5 inches, mark it out, and then locate the center, which will be 0.75 inch, and mark it out like this. After that, I am going to connect from this 1 inch here down to the 1.5 inch and also connect it to the center of the 1.5 inch, which is 0.75. I am done connecting it with my ruler and marker. This is what yours should look like. Next, come to the middle line, place your tape out like this and mark out 0.75 inch, which is 3/4 inch. This is because when you fold and sew the side dart, one will be shorter and one will be longer, which will alter the measurement. So in order to avoid that, place your tape outwards at the middle and mark out 3/4 inch and then connect the 1.5 mark to it, and also connect from the chest line down to the new 0.75 inch like this. I will go ahead and label it to avoid confusion. This will be our yoke. Then this part I am dotting like this will be cut off. I will label the center front CF, then the side front SF, and then go ahead and start cutting. Cut through the neck, then come down and start cutting the center front. Cut carefully so you don't make mistake. Carefully cut out the yoke. Cut the center front cup. Keep it one side and then continue cutting through the chest line for the yoke. After cutting the yoke, keep it aside. And if you check well, you will notice this side that we replaced for the shorter cup affected the yoke. I will use a masking tape and this tiny paper and replace it. I am done replacing it and this is what I have here. Now for the side dart, I will just fold it like this and gum it down. You can decide to fold it in or cut through the 1.5 inch line. I have cut mine. I will use my E7000 glue and gum it like this because I wouldn't want the dart to be showing on my fabric. So I will automatically sew the dart by folding it and gumming it together like this.
After joining the darts, I will go ahead and cut out the side front cup.
Before I continue cutting, this is the side cup. Now, in order not to make mistake, I will place them together with the center front like this and draw an arrow on it so as to indicate the side I will join them and cut this off. This is what your cup pattern should look like. For the body part, I will get the center front and place it on the other part like this because I don't want to cut them separately. I don't want it to have joining. So I'll get my glue and glue them together like this. That's it for the pattern drafting, guys. If yours is just blouse, you can come to the side like this and give it a little curve by going up by 1.5 inch or 1 inch. After marking it out, you can use your curve and curve it well towards the center like this and then cut it out. That's if you want. Now back to the body. If you check well, after joining the two, the waist that is showing here, I won't be adding that directly to my fabric, and to achieve that, I will come to the waistline and take out the dart from this side because the joining made the dart to appear here at the middle. So I will take it out from the side by measuring out this one in the middle. Whatever I get, I will place my tape at the side and take it out. I got like 1 inch, so I marked 1 inch from the side and connected it to the chest line and then the blouse length line, thereby creating a new line. After that, I will go ahead and cut it out. You can decide to cut the side. I am making a gown with this. So if you're making a blouse, do not forget to replace what you took at the side dart so as for you not to alter your measurements. So that's it for the front drafting. Now for the corset back with yoke pattern, as you can see, I am done marking out the basic bodice measurement. We do this almost every time in this channel. If you are new here and you don't know how to draft a basic bodice block pattern, check out the video card that just appeared at the top right of your screen to watch it, or later you check the description box for it. So here, as you can see, I have marked out the neckline by using 3 inches for the wideness and 1 inch for the depth. I have done the shoulder slope too, just like we did for the front. Here is the chest line, the bust point line, the waistline or half length, and then this is the blouse length line. This 1 inch here is for the zipper allowance. You can decide to make yours 1.5 inches if you want to add a zipper to yours. Mine will have a corset loop. So for the back armhole, it will remain straight, not going in by ½ inch like we did for the front. So I will just use my curve and curve out the armhole like this. Next, I will place my tape on the waistline and mark out the nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, just like we did for the front pattern. I will also mark it out on the bust point line and then the blouse length line. Still at the blouse length line, place your tape this way on it and come up by 1.5 inches and mark it out. Then use a ruler and connect the dots together like so. Guys, for the waist dart, place your tape on this line and then mark out half inch on both sides. Then place your tape on the chest line and come down by 1 inch and then extend the line like so. Next, I will get my front pattern, place it on the back pattern like this to cross-check the length. I noticed the length is not the same, so I used the front length to trace that of the back. So this is the new blouse length. This dotted part, I will cut it off. I will place my tape here and go up by 1 inch. Mark it out and connect it to that half inch we marked out at the waistline. If you notice, I have also connected it to this 1 inch up here. Next, I will place my tape on the chest line and go down by ½ inch. Then draw a straight line across the marks like so. This is what we need to do before cutting out the yoke. After that, the next thing I'm going to do is to take down my measurements. So on the chest line, I will mark out the bust measurement divided by 4 plus extra 1.5 or 2 inches seam allowance, just like we added for the front pattern. I will come down to the waistline and mark out the waist measurement divided by 4, then measure out what I took at the dart area, which is 1 inch, and replace it back plus extra 1.5 or 2 inches seam allowance. I will repeat the same thing at the blouse length line and then connect the dots with my ruler from the waist to the blouse length and then up to the chest line. I will place my tape on this ½ inch line right here at the zip allowance line and then come down by ½ inch. After that, I will use my ruler and connect it to the line that I drew below the chest line, and that's it for the yoke. I will go ahead and label it as the yoke. I won't be adding a zipper to this particular dress, rather a corset loop or eyelet. So the zip allowance area that I am dotting, I won't be needing it. I will go ahead and fold it in just like you see me doing in the video. Next, I will also cut out this side that I won't be needing and then go ahead and cut the side and then the yoke. I will keep the yoke aside. Then for the corset back, I will place my tape from here and go in by either 1.5 or 2 or 3 inches, depending on how open or wide you want your corset back to be. I will mark mine at 2.5 inches, come down to the blouse length line and go in by 1.5 inches because I want that side less wider than the upper part. I will use my ruler and connect the lines together like so. After connecting it, you can go ahead and cut it out. I decided to fold mine because I will still use this paper, whichever way you choose to do it. So after cutting it, this is what it should look like. Make sure you don't cut the yoke to be equal with the bodice. The next thing we are going to do now is to manipulate and take out the dart from the side, just like we did for the front pattern. So this is me measuring the waist dart. I got like 1 inch. I will come down to the side like this and mark and take out the 1 inch. After marking it, I will connect it to the chest line and to the blouse length line. That means we will cut out this area. So I will get my scissors and cut it out. Guys, I am done cutting the back pattern and this is what it looks like. So if you added this curve to the side of your front pattern, make sure to also add it to the back pattern. Come up by 1 inch or 1.5 inches at the side, depending on how many inches you used for your front pattern, and then mark it out and curve it inwards like this before you cut it out. Mine is a gown, more like an inbuilt corset, so I won't be curving mine. Next, for the keyhole yoke or this N-shaped curve at the upper back region, get the yoke. Place your tape at the neck like this and come down by 1 inch or 1.5 inches. Mark it out and then curve it down to the chest line, any shape you want. You can use your pattern curve to curve it, any shape at all. Or if you want it to be a V-shaped back, you can still place your ruler like this from the wideness of the neck and then create a V-like shape by marking a line down like so. You can still decide to make it straight, but for me, I will place the yoke to my pattern like this so as to get a good curve. I will trace it from where the body's opening started and mark it upwards to the yoke so that when I join it together, they will align well. Here, at first, I wanted just a straight line yoke design, so I used my ruler to mark a straight line across like this and then folded it in, just like you see me doing in this video, but I will still open it up later and make some modifications which will result to the N-like shape yoke at the back. Guys, our video is getting longer. Please on your notification bell now so that you will be the first to be notified whenever I upload the next tutorial video where I will show you guys how to go about cutting it out on the fabric and sewing the inbuilt corset, and also how to sew the back corset with eyelet and modesty panel. Guys, you wouldn't want to miss out because this style is everything and more. Check out what the dress will look like after the sewing. I will show you guys other things in our next class, so please give me a thumbs up if this video was helpful. Subscribe to this channel, share this video with your friends, and drop a nice comment. Please guys, check the description box for our social media pages and groups so that you can follow us and join our group too. Click on this small picture to subscribe now. Thanks so much for watching till now. See you guys in my next video. Bye.